dawn, swallow your soul. Similar to if I kick in your teeth, swallow a soul. You a dub, W clan, y'all can swallow us whole. Or get snubbed with these two cans if you follow my nose. I'm gold. Take a shot from the grassy knoll. I can school you with the Draco. This ain't the grassy knoll. Under siege feel like Waco. Y'all should already know. Got this red dot mark on you, marks like ready go. You boss around, get around like a merry-go. Catch a big fish, I'm not Moby Dick, but there she goes. See that boomstick? Get your boom boom click, my flow. Make the room sick, then put the 666 below. Y'all like who this? Masking a MF like Loomis. I do this so deadly with mics like Dr. Loomis. This is Necronomicon music. What else would you expect from the Necronomicon, stupid?
Groovy.
I like that intro.
Right? It's sick. Welcome to the Indie Corner. We're talking about all things independent comics. I'm Mikey.
I'm Rebecca.
And today, people, we're back at it again with another episode of the Indie Corner podcast, specifically our third episode of our Fright Night event. And today, we're going to be talking about a comic that I think me and Rebecca have been talking about doing for a long time. Not really a comic, but we didn't just know what to do. Yeah, franchise. Yes. Thank you, Rebecca. A franchise that we wanted to do on this channel for a while now. I think like a couple, ever since like summer started. But yeah, we're going to be talking about the book The Army of Darkness, 1979, written by Rodney Barnes, who again, Rodney Barnes, Killedelphia, with art by Tom Garcia and Edu Menna. And yeah, Rebecca, it's finally here. We're finally doing it. I'm
finally
excited.
covering an Evil Dead book.
Oh yeah, it's great. Love this franchise. Love Bruce Campbell. Love Sam Raimi. Love all of it. We're gonna get into it. I'm excited. But yeah, had to put that intro because it felt right. All right. But yeah. So we're gonna get into the book in a second. But we just wanted to do a brief little talk. Just share our love for this franchise. So Rebecca, what we're gonna talk about? What's our history with Evil Dead? How did you discover Evil Dead? What movies have you seen? What are your thoughts on the franchise as a whole? What do you think?
Yeah, so I'm a big horror movie person. So I, especially like the last 2-3 years, I've been trying to get through my backlog of all the classic horror movies, especially the 80s ones. Mm-hmm. And so naturally, Evil Dead was on that list. So I've seen, at this point, every single movie except for the very first Evil Dead. And I'm currently on season 1 of the TV show. Okay,
gotcha. And you haven't watched the TV. This
is my first watch through, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, great. Well, for me, I mean, I grew up, I think I've probably stated this on the channel before. I didn't really grow up with horror. I was kind of a little bitch for a while when it came to horror.
Me too.
Until 2019, when I was dating someone who was a huge horror fan, and she kind of weaved me into horror slowly. I do remember we did watch Evil Dead 1 back in Marvel Club, I think our freshman year. I wasn't paying attention to it. I only watched.
I don't think I was there for that, and if I was, I have zero memory of it.
It was either freshman or sophomore year, and I was like, huh. I didn't really pay attention to it. I wasn't really digging it that much, but sometime I'd say earlier this year, because ever since I've been getting into horror, Evil Dead's always been on my list to watch. I started watching them, but I didn't even rewind the tape. Hold on. I did watch an Evil Dead movie long before we watched it in college, but it was the 2013 reboot. That was my first Evil Dead that I ever saw. I watched it around the time it came out, so I was 14. Scarred me for life. Couldn't do it. It was terrifying. It was disgusting. I couldn't do it. But earlier this year, I was on a horror kick for a while, so I decided to watch everything. I watched Evil Dead 1, watched Evil Dead 2, rewatched Evil Dead 2013, the reboot, after a long time of not watching it, and then watched Army of Darkness, and then I watched Ash vs. Evil Dead as well when it was on Netflix back early spring. Loved it. I think that show has become one of my top 5 favorite shows of all time. I think it's amazing. And then, lucky enough, after watching all of that, Evil Dead Rise came out earlier this year, and we watched that together. Actually, me, you, and Christian as an Indie Corner movie night. And after all of that, after I'm a huge Evil Dead fan. I love this franchise. Love and respect Sam Raimi because I watched a bunch of videos about how he made Evil Dead with him and Bruce Campbell, and love and respect those two deeply, dearly. I think Bruce and Sam are amazing together, and Sam has a great vision. Bruce, I think, I respected him more as an actor because of watching all of his films and watching his behind-the-scenes stuff with Sam, because I only knew him as the guy who makes cameos in the Spider-Man trilogy.
Table for 2. Becker.
Parker.
That is what I said. Becker.
So, for a long time, so seeing him shine in the Evil Dead franchise and watch him grow as an actor, I think was amazing. And yeah, man, Evil Dead, fucking awesome, man.
And like the other movies, like the remakes, they're good. Like I like those movies, but it's just not the same without Bruce Campbell.
I mean, I will give you that is true. That is true, because Bruce Campbell has pretty much been the face of the franchise throughout his entire acting career. But like, listen, Evil Dead 2013, after now watching it again after like around like 9 years, 9 years later, I think it's still pretty good as like a soft reboot. I think it's great.
Yeah, I like that movie just like on its own.
Yeah, and and obviously when Evil Dead 2 dropped, it was a different change from Evil Dead 1. It was a lot more horror and campy comedy mixed in. Like Sam Raimi said that Three Stooges was like a big inspiration to him because he was a fan of it growing up. So implementing that type of comedy has been the staple of the franchise until Army of Darkness. But then Evil Dead reboot in 2013 was a lot more serious, a lot more darker, and it worked. Like that movie has some of the craziest like body horror I've ever seen. And I think that movie's intro is one of my favorite intros to a horror film ever, with that twist with that girl that gets kidnapped. I love that. I thought it was so good. And yeah, Evil Dead Rise, I think it's difficult because Talk to Me was a really good movie, a horror film that came out this year, but I think Evil Dead Rise is probably one of my favorite horror films of the year, if not my favorite. I'm still debating that, but listen, love Bruce Campbell, but like I kind of am digging with this new direction that they're going with the Evil Dead franchise as of right now, and I'm looking forward to the next movie that they drop, if they do have some plan. I think they do have some plan in the works, but yeah, love Evil Dead. It's great. So yeah, so I mean, I don't have anything else to say before we move on to like the next quick topic. But yeah, Rebecca. So obviously, we're covering some Evil Dead comics, right? Like that's why we're here.
Yeah.
But did you? I mean, when we were trying to figure out what Evil Dead comic to do, right? We kind of found it a little bit difficult because there's a lot of them, like a lot of them. It's a strange predicament. It kind of reminded me of when we did Transformers and we did that little segment of like why Transformers is very difficult to get into. Which again, we have a clip of that, so you want to check that out. Rebecca explaining Transformers comics to us. I'll put that in the corner. Yeah, I think there's also a big problem with Evil Dead comics, Rebecca. And you
That's an understatement.
Yeah, and do you want to guess why that is? You want to take a quick guess?
Because the rights are so fucked that there's like no continuity.
Exactly. So for people that don't know, Evil Dead, the first Evil Dead was, I think, made under like an independent production company that Sam Raimi created for himself to get the rights out there. I think it was called like Rosebud Studio, something like that. And so Sam for a while had, well, for Evil Dead 1, he kind of somewhat had the rights to it. But when he made Evil Dead 2, he realized he didn't completely have the rights to the first Evil Dead, so they had to pretty much do the whole requel. I think that was the whole start of like the whole requel format for horror films, because he couldn't use a lot of the footage from Evil Dead 1, so he had to like basically make Evil Dead 2 a soft reboot in a way as well as a sequel. But then, you know, after Evil Dead 2 was great, he decided to make Army of Darkness. I think it's either with MGM or Universal. I don't really remember, but that was a whole different separate company in terms of the production, in terms of the rights. So when it was time to do Ash vs. Evil Dead, Sam Raimi acquired the rights back, but he only acquired the rights back for Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2, so he couldn't use the Army of Darkness stuff to incorporate Ash vs. Evil Dead because I think Universal owns it or MGM owns it. So it's still a tricky situation with the rights, which unfortunately affected the comics. So the rights to the comics went to a company called Space Goat Productions. I looked this up, and so they have the rights to use the Evil Dead 2 name for their comics. So if you want to read some Evil Dead 2 comics, Space Ghost Productions currently has the rights for that. But for Army of Darkness comics, in order for the Army of Darkness license was acquired with Dynamite through MGM, and they produce the Army of Darkness comics, which are two separate continuities under different publishers. So it's kind of a mess, and they don't connect at all. They don't have any overlap. They're completely separate continuities. So if you want to get into Evil Dead comics, you have to figure out which one you want to get into first, and which one is the right fit for you. So yeah, that's pretty much.
There's a lot of crazy titles for Evil Dead there too.
Oh my god! Like Evil Dead, because the thing is, there was a movie adaptation for the Evil Dead 2, which was done originally by Dark Horse before that, when they had the license. And once Space Ghost got on it, they made a bunch of Evil Dead 2 Revenge of books, miniseries. So there's the Revenge of Hitler, the Revenge of Evil Ed, they made so many revenge books. I mean, Army of Darkness has a lot more crossovers. They cross over with Xena Warrior Princess, some of the other Dynamite characters. Barack Obama makes an appearance in there. Dracula makes an appearance in there. It's crazy. But yeah, Rebecca, what are your thoughts on the craziness that is the Evil Dead comics? I mean, it was a lot. It's a lot when we found out which one.
It's a mess. When we Googled this months ago, we were like, oh, how many Evil Dead comics can there be? There's hundreds of them.
Hundreds of them. Yeah. And it's kind of sucks because it makes it difficult for someone to want to get into any Evil Dead comic. You have to literally pick either Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness, and then from there there's a huge catalog for each title. So it makes it a lot more difficult. But so far I think personally the best comics to read, if you are an Evil Dead fan, I think it's just in terms of quality, I think the Army of Darkness books are better than Evil Dead 2 books. But that's just me though. I think there's a lot more variety and involved with it, and I think the books are generally pretty funny and pretty good, and are better and fulfill the spirit of of those original movies, I think. But that's just me. But also, people, by the way, these don't actually tie into the movies. It's Evil Dead 2 comics only take place after Evil Dead 2. The Army of Darkness comics only take place after Army of Darkness. So it's just it's a mess. It's a mess. But I digress. So Rebecca, any other thoughts on this stuff? On this issue? No?
Not really. It's just rights issues topped on normal comics bullshit.
Yeah, typical shit. All right, so yeah, I guess we'll just get right into it. So Rebecca, you got issue number 1 of the Army of Darkness, 1979.
Yeah, so I guess just hopping right into it. So we open in the South Bronx in the year 1979, and New York is going through a huge turf war. There are a bunch of gangs that all have their own very cheesy gimmicks.
It's amazing. It's amazing. They look like classic 70s comic book gang characters. It's amazing. We should bring this stuff back.
Going into this, I didn't expect. I don't know why I didn't expect it, but I didn't expect it to be like so goofy. Like I thought it was gonna be more grounded, and then right out of the gates, you just get like ridiculous costumes, I guess.
Yeah, it's great.
But like I said, New York's in a turf war right now, so there's like tons of gangs out there. The main one we're following are called the Half-Deads, and their whole shtick is they're like kind of like zombie looking, but mostly they just wear contacts and dress kind of goth.
Yeah.
And like everyone else, they want to take over New York. So cutting over to another one of these gangs, the gang called the Dominoes, their leader Ace is standing on top of a building and talking about how he's going to take over the streets of New York City. But as he's giving his speech on that, we see an evil He-Man looking guy come up. And he's got the He-Man bowl cut, but he's part of a gang. Well, he's the leader of a gang called the Warlocks. And nobody's scared of him. Nobody's like heard of him. So he introduces himself. His name's Bishop. And like I said, he's the leader. And he immediately turns everybody into meat. Just like exploding meat.
Turns him into chum. It's amazing.
I should also note here, even though you can see it in the slide, that he is in possession of the Necronomicon.
Mm-hmm.
So we cut over to Washington State in the year 2021, which I guess was the present when this came out. I'm not actually sure the year this came out, but and we see our hero, Ashley J. Williams, trying to get a job at a lumber company. So he's showing this guy who's gonna hire him how good he can cut down trees on account of him having a chainsaw for a hand. And to his credit, he actually does it pretty well and he gets the job, but as the guy goes to shake his hand, a portal opens up and sends his ass to New York. Cutting back to New York, the Warlock gang has taken over the streets, mainly just walking in the middle of it to seem cool. Some cops come over to try and like tell them to respect authority and I guess like scare them basically. But again, this Bishop guy just immediately turns them into exploding meat and scares the other NYPD officer away. Over with the Half-Dead gang, everyone's like freaking out because, you know, people are getting melted basically. And while they're discussing like what they're gonna do, we see the portal open and Ash pop right out of it. So immediately the gang thinks that he's working with the Warlocks and that he's some sort of like magical being, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So they decide the best thing to do is jump him and beat him up. So
yeah, do it. Do New York shit. Mollywop this guy.
Yeah, it's New York in the 70s. What else are you gonna do? But so Ash tries to keep them away, you know, use his chainsaw, use his gun, all that stuff. But they get him, they disarm him. And one thing I noticed is in one of the panels, that bottom left one there, they accidentally draw his stub hand with the full hand.
Yeah.
So he gets captured and tied up, and he's trying to explain to them that, like, you know, he needs to find the Necronomicon and like fight off evil and get back to the present. You know, kind of your standard Army of Darkness stuff, really.
Mm-hmm.
So they tie him up, but as they do, and they start to interrogate him, Deadites break into the place and start attacking everyone. So he's, in classic Ash fashion, he's finally like, okay, so now do you guys like believe me? Like, I'm the only one who can basically beat them up. And so the girl, a member of the gang, her name's Lilith, frees him and helps get him his weapons, basically. And so now Ash is armed, and we get this action sequence of him, you know, doing what he does best, slashing and shooting Deadites.
Mm-hmm.
So in the action, the half-dead gang's leader, Fibula, is killed. But they can't really focus on that. And then one of the Deadites who's fighting Ash cuts him, and his blood forms like mini NYPD officers. If you've ever seen Army of Darkness, it's exactly, well, not exactly, but it's very similar to that scene in the movie where the mini Ashes come out and attack.
I loved it. I thought this was cool.
Yeah, and so now that's another problem to deal with, and we end this issue with the mini NYPD overwhelming the group and Ash.
It's good. I mean, it pretty much. I do enjoy the fact that it doesn't really like because the pacing's pretty quick with this issue. Like it's pretty much doesn't shy away from the story beats. I think that's great. Again, it just sets up. Okay, gang shit's happening in the 70s. Necronomicon comes into play with these very goth with these very goth dudes in leather jackets. Was run by He-Man apparently. And Ash, I do like the fact that Ash is in the present, is trying to live a normal life after all this that happened with him and Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness. And obviously it's because it's Ash and the Necronomicon's involved, he always gets sucked back into Necronomicon bullshit. And I think that's really fun. Yeah, this issue is just really fun. I do love the fact that Ash knows he can see that he's in New York, but he knows that he's specifically in the Bronx because of the smell. I love that. I don't know, it's so funny.
Yeah. No, whenever you get off that train and you smell that New York sewage, that's how you know you made it.
And yeah, I thought that was really fun. And yeah, I think it's really cool. I mean, I think the character, I love the colorful gang characters. I love how they all talk like they're in a blaxploitation film. I think it's so funny. Like it's just it's so funny, all the different gangs and stuff, and it's really cool. I do love the action that we get with Ash, killing all the Deadites and stuff like that. I think that's really awesome. I do really like I'm trying to find the artist's name again. I do really like Tom Garcia's art style. I think it's very are you familiar with Tony Moore, like from The Walking Dead? Like he did like the first one, The Walking Dead. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like that kind of style, very typical comic style with like an edge, with like an instance of like cartooniness. So it fits that wackiness of like, how we know like Evil Dead and Army of Darkness to be like, I think, in terms of the art style. And yeah, I think it's really fun. I mean, listen, that ending, man, what's worse than the NYPD? Mini NYPD and a swarm of them. And we don't want that. That's not fun. What do you think of this issue, Rebecca?
Yeah, I think as a setup issue, it's a cool premise. Like the premise is obviously why I wanted to read this when we were trying to decide which of the many comics to do for this series. I think the idea of a gang war is really fun. I don't think as we go on, I'll get more into my feelings about how they execute it. But I think the premise is really fun. The villain gang, I'm not really that invested about, but they're just someone to fight. So, exactly. And this is also the first issue, so they're kind of whatever. But I think the fight with the Deadites and the mini cops are a fun idea.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I don't really have any. When I was reading this, I just figured just typical villains for Ash to fight. Like I didn't really see any substance with it. But
there's no background on how they get the Necronomicon or anything like that. It's just there.
They're just there.
That's fine.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I got nothing else to say. So yeah, I guess we'll just move on to issue number 2 of the Army of Darkness, 1979. And I had to put, in terms of the covers, I like the cover, like most of the covers for the most part, but I think I had to put them next to their variants, some of the variants, because I think some of the variants for these issues are really cool, are really good.
Yeah, the painted, I don't know the artist name on the right, but his her, I don't know who the artist is, but their variant covers are my favorite covers in these.
Yeah. They're so good. Like just Ash on top of like a taxi cab, surrounded by deadites, and next to the subway.
Yeah,
I love
it
that.
plays with the concept of Ash in New York, and I really appreciate that.
Like this, like seeing this cover was like, I want this. Like I want this to be a movie, like or something. I think that'd be really fun to see like in live action. I don't know, but
Yeah, Freddy versus Jason versus Ash in Manhattan.
New York, Manhattan. It'll be a Jason Takes Manhattan sequel.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Okay. All right. Okay. Enough talk. Let's get right into it.
All right. So, issue 2. So we open with the Warlock gang in Central Park, and all of Bishop's goons are basically complaining that like this kind of sucks. Like, who cares about taking over the world, basically, or starting with New York? Everyone else is like hungry, and they're tired of just walking around trying to look cool. Bishop does not care. He gives his like villain monologue about how, he wants to take over the world and how he doesn't really have a character outside of that. And then another gang shows up, and they're called the Brooklyn Dodgers. So
this killed me. I thought this was so funny. I'm just like, the fucking Brooklyn Dodgers are another fucking gang in New York. I love this.
Yeah, so if you couldn't guess from the name, they're all baseball players. They all carry on baseball bats, and they whack people with bats. It's really not that complicated.
I wish they actually like looked like the Brooklyn Dodgers too, like uniform color and all. But I know they couldn't do that. So
that might be a copyright violation. So they try to get in a fight, but when you have the powers of the Necronomicon, there's not really much competition, and once again, Bishop immediately explodes everyone.
Yeah, which I feel like that's all he does in like this last issue. Like that's his main move is just explode, and that's it.
Yeah, it's not really the most creative move, but it does get the job done. So cutting back over to Ash and the Half-Dead gang, they're still being attacked by all of the mini cops, and we get a couple pages long sequence of them basically stomping them out, try to free themselves, and Ash manages to free Lilith as well, and they kind of finish them off just by like stomping them to death.
Mm-hmm.
So once again they realize that their leader Fibia is dead, and they're like, oh, we're so incompetent, we don't really know what to do, and we're stuck in the middle of a gang war. So Lilith says that Ash needs to be their leader, and he's like, well, I've always wanted to be a leader, so I might as well, So they all like get behind him and decide they're gonna go kick some ass, and defeat the Warlock gang, basically. So cut over again to Bishop, and the police encounter him, and he takes them all out so he can take his gang to eat, basically, and get them to shut up.
Yeah, they just want to get some pizza. They just want some pizza. That's all they want, just to get a slice of pizza. It's so great.
It's not hard to find a place in New York with pizza.
Literally, just go to there's literally dollar pizza spots everywhere. They're like, come on. Like Bishop could just let them break.
As someone who like claims New York as their city, do you have a pizza spot?
I might. I do actually, but I'm not gonna say it. It's low key.
Too hot of a take for the internet.
I think so.
Fair enough.
But it's literally okay. I'll say it. It's any place. It's any pizza spot that's outside of Port Authority. Like the moment you walk out of Port Authority, any of those pizza spots I think are my favorite. I don't care. Like I love pizza.
Alright, so getting back to the issue, the gang's just kind of walking around on the street, and Lilith asks him 2 questions. What's this all about, and why do warlocks have magical powers? And Ash basically explains once again that everything is basically the fault of the Necronomicon one way or another, and it's got some kind of power that always seems to fall in the hands of the bad guys. Ash is like, yeah, so I gotta fight whoever has the book, basically. And Lilith's like, wow, you're like some kind of hero. And he's like, yeah, I guess I am.
Yes, I am.
they're just talking, and Lilith is kind of like hitting on him, and he's like, "Didn't your boyfriend just die?" And she's like, "Yeah, but you know how it is out in the New York streets."
Like you have a chainsaw on your hand. You have a chainsaw for a hand, and like this really weird looking gun. You're so hot.
I mean, I guess you're just supposed to insert the Bruce Campbell charisma into his comic character, but
Yeah.
he gets a kiss on the cheek out of it, and he's like, "Wow, girls move on here fast." But
I mean, it is New York.
but one of the other gang members is like, "So how are we supposed to like find the Warlock guys anyway?" And Ash is like, "Well, if this is anything like the New York where I remember, then they're probably in Central Park," which not a bad guess because they were in Central Park.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "If we're not there, then we'll basically just keep looking." So over with some other gangs, they're all like pissed that the Warlocks are coming in and making a grab for power, basically. So they decide that they're gonna more or less team up, take out Ash because they think he's in on it somehow, as well as the rest of the Warlock gang. Over at a pizza parlor, we see that the Warlock gang finally made it there, and everyone's happy eating their slices of pizza, except for Bishop, who is once again just villain monologuing about conquering the world and how he's better than eating pizza. And he also just says how his goons are basically incompetent.
Yeah, it's just like I just love how his goons just there's some motivation just like listen, we just wanted to get some pizza, and he's just like, nah, I want to take over the world, but let's can we at least get some pizza though? It's like, yeah, fine, might as well.
Yeah, like I said, he's very much a one-note villain here.
Mm-hmm.
So over with Ash and the gang, they're now on the subway when they get interrupted by another one of the gangs called the Panthers. And if you couldn't guess by the name, their thing is they dress up in panther skins.
They're the Black Panthers, Rebecca.
Yeah, but they don't put the black in their like bolded title. They're just the Panthers. Probably again for copyright reasons.
Oh man, no, it's the Black Panthers, guys. Come on, it's the Black Panthers.
But anyway, they recognize Ash as being like a magic dude that came from the sky with a chainsaw hand. So they're gonna fight him basically. So the fight commences. Ash tries to shoot the leader, but misses. And you know, everyone's throwing punches, stuff like that. The leader grabs him, kicks him through the window of the train, and has him plummeting towards the ground, and that's how we end issue 2.
I literally was like, "There's no way the fuck this man's gonna survive this." It's like he just got kicked out of a moving train, like which is on the bridge, so it's suspended. Like, no, I was like, this man's done. Like, come on. Like, wait up. I digress. We're gonna get into that a little later, but. Yeah, no, this issue was fun. I mean, it's just.
Yeah. As much as I'm gonna complain about the villain during this, I like that the goons like don't really care. Like they're just vibing.
Yeah, they just like they have a simple motivation. They just want pizza. That's all they want. They just want to get a slice of pizza. It's just. I don't get why Bishop hates that so much. Like, come on, you can't just hate pizza. Like, I know the Necronomicon is like. All evil and shit, and like, it gives you mass amounts of power, but like you can't even Necronomicon.
It makes you not like pizza.
Yeah, come on. If it makes you not like New York pizza, like it's not worth. I think. But yeah, now this issue was really cool. Again, more of the gang shit. I love how the Black Panthers. I'm gonna refer them as the Black Panthers. Like he was like this. Like Ash was actually fighting Huey P. Newton, even though Huey P. Newton's probably in jail.
Ash is on the wrong side of history.
No, yeah, I think it's really fun. I mean, I do like the fact that, like, again, yeah, we get, we see more of the gangs having their meeting of the minds due to the fact, yeah, like crazy shit's happening in New York, and like we can't have that because we got to make sure that the balance is like kept in New York. That every gang knows their place. You know what I mean? So like. Let's take out Ash because he came out of a magic portal. Even though we have no evidence that he's behind it, let's go after him. And it's just like it's just stupid.
It's the same mentality of beating up the biggest guy when you get to prison.
Exactly, right? Like it's just yeah, but yeah, I do like the fact that like because Ash is so cool, they just accept him as his leader so quickly too. After their leader, what was his name? Like Tibula, he's a bone.
Fibia, yeah.
Fibia, yeah. After Fibia gets killed, they're just like just because Ash is so cool at killing Deadites, they immediately like, yeah, he's our leader now. We're just gonna accept it. And also the fact that Lilith is like, oh, yeah, he's so hot. Like, I mean, yeah, I'm with this guy now. Like, it's just, it is what it is. I think it's very funny. Again, that Bruce Campbell Riz is that chiseled jawline. It's just like that's what distracts everybody. It's kind of wild. Yeah. Besides that, I mean, I think it was fun. I think it was fine. I think the action in it is pretty cool. Again, when he fights the Black Panthers, I think it's so funny. I think it's just that's what killed me. I was like, he's fighting E.P. Newton in the Black Panthers in the Bronx. I think it's kind of wild. I mean, listen, this is the Bronx, so goes to show why they're these colorful, crazy characters, because everybody in the Bronx is crazy. So I mean, it's just
as we said in our last adjacently related Bronx horror video.
Yeah. But yeah, that issue was fine. I think that was fun. It was a fun issue.
Yeah, I like all the gangs once again. I think, it's really fun seeing their gimmicks, even though most of them get destroyed in like a couple of panels.
Bishop wipes the floor with them, and I think it's kind of funny thing that they have a chance to fight this team. Even the cops are just like, well, I mean, it's the NYPD, but like even the cops, like the moment they see like a couple of their guys explode, they're just like, nah, fuck that, we out, we're good. Protect and serve my ass. I'm protecting my ass. That's what I'm doing. It's just like, but
no, like you said, the action's fun in this, and I think this is a fun issue.
Yeah. All right, so okay, I guess we'll just move on then. So we're gonna move on to the Army of Darkness issue number 3, and I don't have the variants for this because I didn't really like much of the variants for it, but I love this main cover. Look at that. It's sick.
This is cool. It has nothing to do with anything that's happening in the book.
Listen, Transformers did it too. You can't lie. But yeah, we'll just get right into it. So obviously, we just saw our boy Ashley Joanna Williams get kicked out of a moving train, and is about to fall to his death because of Huey P. Newton and the Black Panthers. And I mean, Rebecca, clearly he's gonna die. I mean, like, it's a high fall, it's a speeding train. Like,
he's the main character.
The main character. There's no way he's coming out of this alive. But nah, he's fine. He just hits
breaks his neck a little bit, but nothing you can't walk off.
Yeah, he just falls straight to the ground, and just like he's a little rattled, but he's good. And I do like the fact that he talks about how like he's always he feels like he's always falling, and like he's always falling out of portals and off of like high things, but and he knows that it's gonna really hurt, and then when he's about to hit the ground, he's like, it does hurt a lot though. Like,
can we talk real quick though about how dirty they did his hairline in the first panel?
Oh, dude, I didn't even notice that. Wow, yeah, that's freaking Brian Fitch. That's Brian Hitch bullshit. Yeah, they really pulled his cap back. That's kind of wild. But yeah. So obviously Ash, gets up off the ground, no issues at all. Tis only a flesh wound, and everyone is trying to figure out hey, should we help Ash or not? Because he's probably dead, right? Like, oh, no, we good. Like, even though he got kicked out of a window. No, sorry. Lilith wants everyone to help Ash. My fault. And then I'm gonna say his name's Tibia. It's another bone. Whoever's her cousin, who is the second in command. He's just like, yeah, he got kicked out of a window, and we just got our asses kicked. Like, we can't even help ourselves. Why can't we help Ash? And she pretty much calls them out for being a bunch of cowards, and she still says you change your name to the half deads to the cowards. All right, so yeah, there's that. Ash gets up, is surrounded by Huey P. Newton and his Black Panthers, and is basically just ready for another fight. And we get this really cool page of Ash being like, Huey P. Newton's like, this is gonna be your last time you're gonna try to step up to us, and he's just like, yeah, you're dead wrong. And he shoots Huey P. Newton right in the shoulder, and it's like, oh shit. Ash might actually win this, and it's like kind of wild. Everyone, all the other half-deads, so Lilith and all the half-deads catch up to Ash, and you know what? They actually like beat the crap out of them. Like they actually make them retreat, and it's like a really cool moment. So like it's just them, being a nice little gang, and it's really cool. And then basically like after that, they're pretty much trying to figure out their next move. And they think that, Lilith thinks that, they should still hit Central Park because that's still a solid lead to find the Warlocks. And Ash basically says, listen, you lead the way, little lady. And she's like, yes, I like the sound of that. Call me little lady more, please. Because, she's rezzed up. She transitions to pretty much a montage of like a news report. And it's basically just talking about like the events of what's happened in the past, like 2 other issues. Like, obviously, the Warlocks have been going around murdering people and blah, blah, blah. And obviously, New York can't stand for this, guys, because this can't happen in New York. Like, it's just, this can't happen. So then, basically, just pretty much how they're just doing an investigation. And the mayor of New York pretty much wants this stuff out of the city and is going to make a plan to put a stop to it. But obviously, this is New York we're talking about. So what are they going to do? Nothing. So that's pretty much that scene. Transitions again to the Warlocks who are walking into the subway, to the subway like rail lines. And Greg, I don't know about you, but like they've done a lot of all they've done is just walk in like a straight line.
There's not a lot of plot in this book when you actually look at it.
Yeah, like they just walked. They murdered some people, started walking, murdered some more people, got some pizza, and they continued to walk again until they reached the subway.
Yeah, that's the book, everyone. You can go home.
You can leave. Yeah, we're done. Like, yeah, what are we doing? Yeah, we're done. Podcast is over. It's a wrap. Final thoughts.
Everyone.
I don't know what your thoughts are. This I'm just playing with you. But yeah. So while they're walking, the second in command, I'm going to say his name is Joe Pesci. So Joe Pesci basically is like, hey, so like, here's the thing. We're kind of thinking you're a little sus. Like, we didn't really sign up for you to just murder people and take over. We just wanted to like, get some girls and some pizza. Like, we only cared about, taking over Brooklyn, not the world. So they pretty much, they want out. They want nothing to do with Bishop and his plans. And then pretty much they put it to a vote and say, hey, like, if anyone who's in, like, Bishop's like, okay, anyone who doesn't want it, just step forward, just like raise your hands. All of them raise their hands, and then Bishop does the villain thing, and is like, but you don't understand. The Necronomicon gives me power, and just like, and he just blows like 3 of them up. No, he blows Joe Pesci up, and is like, okay, now whoever wants to disagree with me now, they don't have to accompany me on this journey. And then obviously they shut up because they just watched Joe Pesci melt, and then they pretty much continue on. They pretty much continue following Bishop, and Bishop ends the scene with saying, I love the smell of rotting flesh in the morning, which again, guys, he's a villain. He loves murder. Transitions to Ash and the Half-Deads in Central Park. And, pretty much they're looking around for any leads with the Warlocks until Tibia, or whatever the hell his name is, looks behind him and is terrified because he thinks they have a much bigger problem with the Warlocks. And this problem, he looks up, and at the bridge is this gang of, I want to say, just like middle-aged or like women. It's like moms known as they're moms. Yeah, they're concerned moms known as the Mrs. Brady's, and they are pretty much another gang in this various group of colorful gangs in the Bronx. Ash doesn't take this seriously because it's like they're a bunch of old ladies. Like, come on, like they remind me of my mom. Like, come on, they don't take it seriously, even though the half-dads are freaking terrified of them. And Mrs. Brady, like the head Mrs. Brady, pretty much they're saying that like that it's a lovely night for a stroll, and the fact that like they think they like they think they don't think they should be out there at night. Obviously, they're being concerned with comms, and the fact that and that they know what happened in the South Bronx with the Warlocks, and they think that they had something to do with it, and they know one of these things wants to be the top dog, but they can't stand for that. So they want to pretty much put a stop to it. So the Mrs. Brady's pretty much jump off the bridge to attack the half-deads, and pretty much Ash doesn't know what to do because he doesn't want to fight them because they're old ladies and they remind him of his mom, and pretty much like he refuses to fight back. So pretty much who gives them so Lilith gives the idea for Ash to not to fight them, but to take away at least their weapons. So he ends up chopping their rollers and their mom weapons in half, and shoots his boomstick in the air to pretty much devoid of the situation. And the Mrs. Brady runs. All of the Mrs. Brady's run off except for one. Tibia takes her hostage, and pretty much they do kind of like a dumb interrogation, and this Mrs. Brady pretty much explained that they know about the Warlocks, and they know where they are, and it's revealed that they are in the subway tunnels, and pretty much that's what they're gonna do with the location. And I love the fact that when he said take her away, Lil tells Tibia to take her away, and she's like, to where? And she's like, oh, just go put her at there's a nice little diner a couple blocks here on Fifth Street. And the Mrs. Brady's like, yeah, I wouldn't mind going to a diner. Like it's funny shit. But the book pretty much ends with Lewis saying like, let her go to the Warlock, see if she can try to get the book. Ash telling her that it's dangerous, and he said that there's not more dangerous stuff on the streets. She pretty much shares a kiss. She asks for a kiss. He says okay. They smooch, and pretty much says tells everyone to be safe. And then it ends with Lilith going up to Bishop in the subway and is like, hey, Warlock's looking for any new recruits. And that's how issue 3 ends. Issue 3.
Yeah, so I have pretty much the same, review, I guess, as I did the last issue. I think the gangs are really fun. I like that Ash doesn't want to fight the mom group. I think the mom group is also like one of the more intimidating gangs in the city.
I think they are the most intimidating gang in the city. I think that's. I thought that part was very funny. I was like, that's so funny. The moms with the lint rollers and shit are like the most intimidating gang in the Bronx.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of thoughts on this issue. Like I said, very much the same as last issue. Good action. Not really anything character development wise or plot development wise though. Yeah,
I do like at the end, like it ends with Lilith, like a little nice little twist of Lilith like joining, the dark side. They're just like, oh shit, what's going on there? And they're like, oh, like it kind of it's a nice little twist. That's the little thing. Nice thing with Shake.
I can't really say that I'm too invested in her character though.
Yeah, I'm not really. She's just the forced love interest.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what she is. But I do like the news report montage. The fact that obviously the cops and the higher authority, the local government, have no idea what the fuck's going on, and say they have a plan to stop it and that they're gonna stop it, but in reality they're not gonna do anything. So it reminds me a lot of a little bit of Maniac of New York, which is the previous episode before this. But yeah, I thought it was all right. I mean, listen, man, it's good. Like you said, it's good action. I do like the little twist at the end. I love the Mrs. Brady's mom squad, and I think that's hilarious. And yeah, I mean, moral of the story is that Ash can survive anything. He literally fell off. He got kicked out of a moving train and fell off and fell like 30 feet and survived. But granted, that's the thing with Ash in Evil Dead. He always survives everything.
Yeah, so, his one talent is being a final girl.
Yeah, he's pretty. Ash is one of the most iconic final girls in horror, I think. But yeah, I got nothing really else to say. So, yeah, Rebecca, we'll move on to issue number 4.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, so the Army of Darkness, number 4, and again, love these covers. The first cover is so metal, and I love it a lot. And also, I just love the second cover where Ash is in like, I'm guessing like one of the like art museums in New York, like the MoMA or like the Met, and it's just like, huh. It's a nice little. I don't understand. I'm too stupid to understand this Andy Warhol bullshit. I just think it's so funny. But yeah, it's really good covers. And yeah, so we'll just get right into it. So the issue starts off with Ash, sitting on a bench thinking about everything he's been through, like how his whole life has been boiled down to the Necronomicon, and he pretty much goes on to talk. Pretty much we get a montage of everything he's faced throughout the course of Evil Dead comics, pretty much. And I have
through Army of Darkness comics if we want.
Oh yeah, sorry. His journey throughout the Army of Darkness comic series. All right, and it's pretty much a montage of him from battling. He said he's battled an ancient god in Mexico. He fought toe to toe with Dracula and Ava, Ava's daughter the dragon. He saved President Obama from living out his retirement as a Deadite. And he even saved the International Space Station, and then he goes into the backstory of the Necronomicon and how the Necronomicon is a book pretty much created by these beings from 1,000 years ago called the Dark Ones, and they pretty much made the Necronomicon. It's out of flesh and bounded. It's a book bounded in flesh, which white has a face and is written in blood, and and it's basically used for evil shit, and also to send somebody like himself to various time periods, and he hates that. And also contains potions, prophecies, a guide to controlling demons, incantations that can resurrect the dead, and of course spawn time portals, and also awaken the mega Deadite known as the Kandarian demon, who pretty much started this whole thing with Necronomicon and the Dark Ones as a whole. So it's pretty much a nice little backstory, I guess, for anyone who hasn't really watched Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness or Ash vs. Evil Dead.
It's more a plug for their own continuity and the stuff you can read in the other books.
That's true, though. Yeah, like it's like, hey guys, if you like Army of Darkness, if you like Evil Dead, here's all this crazy shit that's been doing in our book. Don't worry about the Space Goat Productions Evil Dead 2 book because they're irrelevant.
You can't say it doesn't work because I do kind of want to know how he met Obama.
That right? Like, listen. If this video gets a decent amount of likes, we will do Ash saving Barack Obama one shot. We will do it. I think that'd be fun.
President's Day special.
When is President's Day?
No fucking clue.
Well, whatever President's Day is, we may do that issue. So stay tuned then. But so basically, while he's reminiscing, he basically yells out loud and complains that all he wanted to do was just live a normal life, live in the suburbs, have 2 kids and a wife, like just fixer-upper type shit. If you people watch that show, and he doesn't like the fact that he can't just live a normal life and bad things always happen to him, and he's just like, oh yeah, like, and then Tibia comes up like, oh, who are you talking to, Ash? He's like, oh, like who else? Them. It points directly at us, the reader, and is like, I was like, you okay, man? I don't see anybody, and he's like, you're asking. I love the fact he's like, you're asking a guy who just helped you battle a gaggle of mini cops that I almost swallowed. Mind you, if he's okay, and he's like, okay, yeah, you have a point. And so yeah, pretty much, they pretty much go over the game plan, and it's like, hey, like, I wonder where Willow's been. Like, she's been gone too long. It's like, what if the Warlocks have her? It's like, listen, man, yeah, they're pretty bad people. So yeah, I mean, so he seems they pretty much seem concerned about Lilith at this point, and they figure that they should do the right thing and go after Lilith to see what's up with her. Transitions to Lilith, a bishop, and the rest of the Warlocks, and Lilith is trying to legit like join their crew and is trying to get them on her side, and pretty much Bishop doesn't really trust her fully, so he decides to make her take a so somewhat lie detector test with the Necronomicon. Basically, puts her hand onto it, and while he touches it, he can see all of her memories, and does see that she did see Fibia, her leader, die. The previous leader die, and the fact that the Deadites went after him, and that it seems to be telling the truth. That he seemed to be telling the truth, and due to that, he realized, yeah, you know what? I could use a queen in ruling the world. You want to be that queen? And she's like, yeah, why not? It's just pretty straightforward. Transitions to Ash pretty much walking around trying to find Lilith, and he sees a long line of people outside of a club, and I love the fact that Ash is just walking around at night, it's just walking around walking around at night, on the streets looking cool. Is that all people do here in New York? It's like, yeah, well, and Tibby is like, yeah, what else are we supposed to do? So basically, he's curious about this club, and is like, yeah, I don't think you want any parts in there. He's like, why? Why don't I? It's like, yeah, because of disco. And he's just like, yeah, man, you haven't. He's like, man, you haven't heard any disco? Disco sucks. He's like, disco. I fucking love disco. And it just runs in and is like, yeah, I've got Saturday Night Fever. Yeah. And it's just so.
This might be my favorite sequence in the book.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's just so corny, and it's just him just quoting every 70s disco quote trope ever, and then he's just clapping, he's dancing and having a good time.
In my mind, it's just the disco mini game from Yakuza playing.
Probably, that's a pretty good person to make. I was literally thinking the Dance the Night Away sequence from Barbie at the Playhouse.
Also a great sequence.
Yeah. But yeah, so Ash is just he's doing his best John Travolta impression, having a great time. And then while this is happening, one of the various gangs who actually runs this disco club notices him and is like, yeah, what are they doing here? And it's the Warlocks the Warlocks have run pretty much every other gang off the street. And basically, this is, I guess, the only place that he could turn to. It's like, man, and it sucks because they're taking our women, and we can't have that. And then while this is happening, so basically, this guy confronts him. This leader of this disco gang confronts Ash, and this is where, Rebecca, we notice that Yart kind of changes a little bit. Like a lot of it. So once this scene takes place where Ash gets confronted by these guys, that's where we get Edu Menna's artwork. So it transitions from Tom Garcia to Edu Menna's artwork, and pretty much Ash is about to basically fight these guys by himself because the Half Deads do not like disco at all. But you know what? But they're a nice little crew. They kind of help Ash out. So they come to his rescue, and Ash is tell him to back up, with his chainsaw, with his chainsaw going up, and both gangs are about to have a fight. And I love the fact that I'm gonna read this verbatim because I think it's so funny. It's just Ash is it's too late for that. Ash is he's trying to basically let's just squash this and call it a night. And this guy's too late for that, man. This is a new suit, and I didn't even get a chance to boogie because you took all the foxy mamas. And he's like, yeah, you're right. Let's call it a night. And then Ash shoots one of the disco balls, and just with a big disco ball, he breaks the chain off of it with his boomstick, and it smashes onto the main guy, and he fucking dies. It is amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it's an amazing moment. So it transitions to Lilith with Bishop now in her official Warlock attire, and now he's basically being okay. Now he's basically telling her, listen, as now that you're Queen Lilith, the real stuff's gonna begin now. So they pretty much, they decide to, they're again villain monologue shit. They're going to basically take out every gang in New York, and then basically that's gonna be the plan. They're gonna go around, take over every gang in New York, and then take over the world. At typical villain shit. I love how Willis says groovy, and if asked him to take the subway, and he's like, yeah, nah, like one of the great bridges of the Necronomicon. Just like I said, can make fucking portals. Yay, they don't need to take the subway. That's. What do you think is worse, Rebecca? Using an evil book of darkness to transport yourself places, or taking the New York subway?
Definitely taking in the New York subway. If you've ever been on the New York subway, you know you'd rather be any place else.
Not gonna lie though, real talk, just to showcase some trauma. As a kid going to New York a lot, one of my biggest things I hated about New York was when it was a full car and you're just packed into like a sardine, and like it's just so uncomfortable, and like you can't trust nobody because there's like thieves everywhere. So it's just like
And especially if you don't know how to get around New York, you always end up getting on the train going the wrong direction.
Yeah, going the wrong way. So yeah, I'd rather take the Necronomicon any other day than the New York subway. So basically transitions to the Warlocks, and this pretty much is abandoned Bronx, not really abandoned, but like abandoned, burned down Bronx area, where we see all the various other gangs of Bronx gangs. And I don't know about you, Rebecca, but like we have some just a bunch of, I guess, retired firemen is a gang. Oh yeah, the firefighters union is a gang. Robin Hood and his merry men are a gang, and just a bunch of random guys with billy clubs and stuff are a gang.
Yeah, I don't think they got a name.
Yeah, the Bronx is just wild. But pretty much Bishop confronts them, summons a fuckload of Deadites, including the flying ones, and basically decide to tear these guys apart. And it's just like it's kind of becoming a bloodbath. And you could see Lilith looking at him in shock, and is like, yeah, now 50 or more so gangs to go. Transitions again to Ash and the Half Deads, and they're pretty much, going over like their game plan, being like, hey, like, I think we should just like, I love New York, but I don't think I love it enough to save it, because it's just going too far. And freaking Tibia is just like, yeah, but like, don't talk about my city, man. It's our home. And like, it's like, it's not the best. We make the most of this bullshit. And it's just like
they talk about New York in here exactly how I talk about Philly.
Oh, really? Yeah. I mean, I think it's too funny the fact that it's like, Ash is like, so because you live here, it's great. And it's like, no, it's like, we know it sucks, but if we admit it, or let you say it, we'll suck. So like, I think it's that logic. I think it's typical New York. I guess also Philly type of mindset, So they pretty much they go back to the Half Dead like headquarters, grab some weapons, and they're pretty much gonna have they're gonna take on the Warlocks directly. And once they're about to walk out the door, they're immediately confronted by the Warlocks. And he said, like, and he's like, yeah, we're eliminating all, and Bishop pretty much says we're eliminating all the street crews of New York. And Lilith basically follows up with, and guess what, guys? Goldberg style from WWE, you're next. And that's how the issue ends. So that's on issue 4, Rebecca.
I like this issue. Like I said, I think the disco sequence might be my favorite sequence of the book. It's just really campy, and I love like that kind of campy, like horror kind of vibe and fun. I like that they bring back the like Deadites in this, even if it's just for a few panels. Yeah. Because one thing I'll talk about in a little bit here is I think that the Deadites themselves are underutilized in this book. Yeah. So it's cool getting to see them. And then, like we said, just like a lot of like walking around in New York. Other stuff I've said for the issues, so not really too many thoughts. Yeah.
I'm pretty much on the same boat. I like this issue. Again, I think the disco scene is the best part. I love it so much. It's just Ash being that campy. It's just that Ash just being campy as shit. How we're used to seeing him. It's just, I think it's so much fun. And again, I wish we got a scene like this in any of the live action stuff. I just think that'd be so much fun. Again, yeah, I mean, it's just like, more walking around in New York, more Lilith trying to join the Warlock. I think that's really interesting. I do like the fact that, you know, yeah, we do get to see some Deadites in here, which I think is really cool. And it's all and it's flying Deadites from the Army of Darkness movie. That is really cool. Again, yeah, more of the gang stuff. Again, the more gangs we discover, we don't realize how crazy the fucking Bronx is. I think it's kind of funny how like Rodney Barnes is kind of very self-aware of that. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I mean I enjoyed it, and I like the twist of like they're about to take their fight to the Warlocks, but they're already outside the door waiting for it. I think it's kind of funny. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I gotta say on issue 4. It's a good issue. I enjoyed it. No Hugh P. Newton and the Black Panthers in it, but I mean, I enjoyed it still. But yeah, all right. So we'll get right into it. So we'll just move on to the last issue number 5 of the Army of Darkness, 1979. And again, these two covers. The main cover, love it, really cool. And this variant cover I think is my favorite. I love the marathon cover with Ash running and all the Deadites behind him. I think
that set of covers is so good. It like disappoints me that we don't get any of this like happening in the book. Yeah,
part of me wish that they just got this artist to do all the main covers instead of. Even though I do like the main covers, except for the cover in the first issue, I don't like the first issue cover a lot, so I didn't put it on there. But I wish this artist did most of the. I wish this artist did the main covers because I think they fit the campiness of Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
So I think.
Well, the other covers, like you said, they're not bad. Like they're well drawn. They just like don't really fit the tone or what's going on in the book.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, we'll just get right into it then. So this issue starts off with kind of a flashback to Yankee Stadium in 1968. Where Ash pretty much recollects I love this part too. I think it's kind of funny. Ash recollects a moment in his childhood that kind of applies to his own life. Where every time where he was at Yankee Stadium, which was when he was a kid. He said he was a huge fan of the Yankees and loved going to Yankee games growing up as a kid. And there was one moment where a Yankee where someone hit a player hit a ball and it was about to go into the crowd, and his dream was always catch like a crowd ball, and obviously that dream was taken away from him when a grown-ass adult male caught the ball instead of him, and it just crushed him, and that was the last time he went to New York. So I love the fact that he kind of connects this into his own life, where he's just that moment he felt that he felt very his life kind of went downhill, and he feels like his life has been going downhill ever since that moment of him as a kid.
Not catching his heart broke in the big city.
Yeah, man. And because of that, he never went back to New York ever again. Obviously, until now. But yeah, I thought this moment was hilarious. I was like, this man's really this butthurt because he didn't catch a fucking ball as a kid and is blaming all of his. I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, I love the melodrama of it all.
Yeah. But yeah, so basically it kicks off right as you expected to kick off. The Warlocks, Bishop takes Necronomicon and takes the fight directly to the Half-Deads and Ash. Basically Ash is confused because he's like, hey, well, I thought we had a thing going on here, and it's just like, why are you evil now? You're just confused. and she just and Bishop's like, yeah, she just wanted to play for the winning team. And and I love how Ash literally is like, wow, talk about 50 ways to leave your lover. And it's just like she throws him into a wall, and she's just like, oh, that hurt. And he's like, you know that? And she's like, you know what they say, you only hurt the ones you love. Like, you just met this fool.
It's
what?
been an hour.
It's been an hour. So while Bishop is doing his villain shit and is about to apparently end things, Tibia is talking to one of his Half-Dead members and is like, yeah, man, I think should we help Ash? And they're just like, and he's like, you know what? I think this guy's too strong for us. I mean, I'd rather not be turned into dust. And I ain't messing with it. So he's just like, but he's our leader though. And he's just like, I mean, we could pray for him. They all just do a prayer circle. They just start praying for him. And then friggin' Bishop has him pinned and is like, say your prayers, blah blah blah, and like it just pins Ash to a corner and it's acknowledging that he won. And all you hear is, and I love this because classic 70s gang bullshit. From your favorite movie, The Warriors, all you hear is Warlocks come out and play, yay! And it's just the leader of the Diamond, the Dominoes, and the various other gangs of the Bronx show up to try to face off against Bishop. And obviously, the leader of the Dominoes goes on to the speech and is like, listen, man, it's like Bishop's like, oh, I have all this power. You think you can defeat me? It's like, you threaten me? He's like, yeah, damn right we threaten you. This is the Bronx, man. You know where the fuck you are? You don't give a shit. He's like, listen, he does the thing from Rebecca. Please put this in. When they do the thing from Spider-Man, it was like,
you mess with Spider, you mess with New York. You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us.
It's just like it's a really cool moment. I like it a lot. But Bishop obviously he's a dick, and you know what he does? He decides to summon a bunch of Deadites, and these Deadites decide to start tearing these people apart, and it's just like, damn. And Ash pretty much, obviously does what a hero does, and is about to step up and save the day. And I love the fact that Ash is like, you know what? He's like, here's the thing. Like, Bishop is not a nice dude. He left some Deadites flying around, and that's not cool. He's like, so in honor of one of my favorite comic book heroes, he yells out, "It's clobbering time!" And then decides to do what Ash does and to hack and slash and shoot his way through some of these Deadites. And I love this page. I thought it was really fun. I was like, huh. Ash's favorite superhero is the Thing. Like,
is that allowed?
Is that allowed? No, listen, I love me some Thing, but like no one ever says their favorite superhero of all time is the Thing. That's just not.
You're gonna get some angry Fantastic Four fans in the comments.
Bring the smoke. Bring the smoke. I'm from New York. I'm ready, bro. I'll take it. But yeah, and we get this really cool action sequence of Ash hacking his way through some Deadites, hacking and slashing and shooting his way through some Deadites. And I want to say, I need to read this because they acknowledged a thing that always bothered me in the Evil Dead movies, and I'm so happy that Rodney Barnes makes Ash very self-aware of this, and he basically just says, he's like, well, and it's like I know what you're thinking. Did he just fire six? He just fires 6 shots, or only 5? He's like, well, to tell you the truth, I kind of lost track of all this. I kind of lost track in all this excitement. But being that this is a shotgun that never runs out of bullets, you got to ask yourself one question: do you feel lucky? Well, do you, punk? And he does a little pose from the Evil Dead. The Army of Darkness poster. But yeah, he knows that it's a 2-barrel shotgun, and he knows that he has an unlimited amount of bullets. I love that. It's amazing. But yeah,
he kind of goes like back and forth with this between like breaking the fourth wall and like not being aware.
Yeah, not being aware. I think it's kind of fun. And at the same time, while he's fighting all the other various gangs in New York, actually like join him in the fight, and actually do a pretty good job of taking them down. So then once that happens, and it's like, hey, like, listen, Ash is like, you guys ready to work together? Because we don't really got a choice. And the leader of the Diamonds and all the other gang leaders like, yeah, we don't really have. There's really no other way to face this. So they're like, okay, you know what? Good, no beef. Let's go get the Warlocks. So it transitions to Bishop reminiscing again, and then he basically he has a flashback of how he remembers the night he received the book, and the fact that it was right after he beat down 2 Brooklyn Dodgers by himself, and then the Dark Ones pretty much appeared out of nowhere and was like, yes, he's the one. He's the chosen one that will basically like bring apart that will take over the world for us, because we can't do it because we're too much of a bitch to do it ourselves. And then And then and obviously the first thing he wanted to do was take over New York because he feels like it's his rightful place and he wants to, and that's what his plan is. And pretty much while he's monologuing to, which is revealed to be Lilith, Lilith decides while he's talking to kind of like take the book or take the Necronomicon away from him, but haha, because I'm a smart villain, I already knew that you were gonna take the book from me. I knew you were working with Ash, like you traitor. And he's like, when did you? He's like, and he's like, I only wonder what was on the note that Ash slipped you while you were fighting him. And he's like, oh yeah, just no worry. I just gave him the address to this place. And then Ash pretty much decides to you hear Ash's chainsaw about to cut the door. Bitter tells the warlocks to assemble, and Ash busts right through, yelling "Let's boogie" while he has every other gang in New York behind him. And I love and here's the thing, Rebecca. I expect another awesome fight, but you know what? Ash did the smart thing for once. And what he does is the first thing he decides to do is just chop the Necronomicon in half, and it's over. Like Bishop's kind of done. And while he does that, it creates a portal, and the Necronomicon gets sucked in, and we don't see it again. Bishop is essentially powerless, and it's just like, hey, perhaps he work out a deal. And his deal is that, and then we see him transition, and all the warlocks, including Bishop, are pretty much exiled out of New York, and they're pretty much Bishop's story arc ends there. Lilith pretty much tells him, "Hey, you saved the day, and that's great." And she wishes that he would stay, and he's like, "Yeah, I'd love to, but I gotta get back to my own time." And this, I don't. And the fact that he acknowledges, I don't really stay time displaced for too long, and yeah. But he's like, "Listen, I get it. Well, is there anything you want to do before you leave?" And he's like, "Yeah, just one thing." And then it transitions to him at another Yankee game. It's at a Yankee game, trying to get a home run ball, and then once he's about to do it, he gets sucked in back into a portal. So good. The Necronomicon took his dream away for a second time. So more trauma. But he's just but while this is happening, he's just I think some things were meant to be, no matter how nutty your life is. If you don't give up, dreams can come true. And then he ends up landing back into the present and luckily the home run ball lands onto the ground. He picks it up with a very creepy smile on his face. And that's how issue 5 ends. So thoughts on issue 5 of The Army of Darkness, 1979, Rebecca?
As a whole, I think this might be my favorite issue in the miniseries.
Mm-hmm.
I like I said, we don't get a ton of character development for Ash. This issue is basically the entirety of his character development. So I like that cheesy little arc about him catching the baseball. I think that's a good way to kind of bookend.
Mm-hmm.
But
does it solve his trauma? I don't think so. But it's a start.
Yeah, it's something. I think him cutting the book in half and just immediately ending it is both funny and anticlimactic.
I thought it was hilarious. I was like, oh, so that's it? Okay.
And yeah, there's other character stuff here with Lilith and all that. I'm not, like I said, I'm not super invested in that, so it's kind of just whatever to me. It's cliche, love interest kind of stuff, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I thought this issue was also I thought it was good. I thought it was fun. I mean, it's just, again, I do like the fact that I forgot to mention this too, that Ash is again trying to be as campy as possible and doing a little bit too much until the main diamond leader of the diamond is okay. You can stop that shit. I forgot to say that earlier, but he's just doing every campy quote in the book in terms of making references all at every panel, and then which I was annoyed by until the leader of the diamond was like, yeah, no, stop that shit. It's done. It's done. You're doing too much, bro. You're doing too much. I thought it was so funny. But yeah, I mean, all the other character stuff that's outside of Ash, I think it's okay. I wasn't that invested. I do like the fact that all the gangs that we've seen so far come together to take on Bishop. But I do also like the fact that you said that it's just cut short with Bishop just cutting the Necronomicon in half. That's pretty much it. And yeah, I mean, it's some good action here. I forgot to mention, what do you think of Edu Menna's art compared to Tom Garcia's art. Do you think it works?
It's not as cartoony, and I think because of that, sometimes, like, especially on this last page here, like, the expressions can be a little weird sometimes.
Yeah, because he's trying to add some like some realism to it, so it matches.
I think it's also partially on the inker. Like, this is some like very heavy black shading.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, when we transition with thing is, like, I thought it was very strange the fact that I was hoping there would be, like, you know, I don't know what the issue was, if it was like a scheduling thing or just like Tom Garcia just quit off the book, but like I was hoping there'd be like a actual story reason why the art style just changes out of nowhere, but it just changes abruptly and it's very jarring, and I didn't like that at all. It took me out of it for a while because I was so used to Tom Garcia's style. I thought his style worked a lot better in the book for the tone of the book than Menu's style. Even though I'm not saying that Menu's style art isn't bad, I like it, but I like it to an extent. But I thought Tom Garcia's art style worked so much better for the series, this miniseries at least. But yeah, I mean, this issue was fun. I mean, that now the everything coming full circle with the baseball, I thought it was a very fun moment. I thought it tied in together very well. Yeah, it was a fun ending. Very, very quick, but it was a fun ending. Yeah, I mean, do you have anything else you want to say on issue 5 before we get into to final thoughts?
I think I'm ready to just talk final thoughts.
Okay, then. All right, so final thoughts on The Army of Darkness 1979.
Yeah, so overall, I think this book was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, not too much really happens plot or character-wise, so I think it's very, like, mid in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
But for, like, you know, a mindless 5-issue story, I think that it's a good read. Yeah.
For me, all this issue was pretty fun. I mean, it was. Granted, we did a poll. I was very conflicted if you wanted to do Army of Darkness 1979 or do Freddy vs. Ash vs. Jason, because that seemed very fun too. But like, I'm kind of glad we did this one just because it was my introduction now, because I've been wanting to read the Army of Darkness, like, Dynamite comics. So the fact that we started off with this, that was really cool. But yeah, I thought it was good. I mean, I this isn't Rodney Barnes' best work, obviously, because Killedelphia is his best work. But I did think that, like, you could tell that he kind of was having fun with it, and like he does know how to write Ash pretty well in terms of like his character. I mean, I feel like Ash is not that difficult of a character to write. But I mean,
I feel like he's harder to write than you would expect.
Okay.
Because I feel like there's like a very fine line between like overdoing it or not, especially since you don't have like an actor like saying the cheesy one-liners, you know? Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I thought he did a good job for a solid job with the writing. Not amazing, but solid. I will say this though. I mean, the overall story as a whole, I think, is really fun. Again, a lot of the New York jokes, I think that's pretty funny, especially like the gangs, the whole all everyone does is just walk around. I think it's kind of hilarious. The pizza thing, I think is so funny. The disco stuff, I think, is great. Ash being like very happy that he's in the 70s, I think is pretty funny. And yeah, I mean, I liked it. I liked it. I thought it was pretty fun. But Rebecca, what would you give Army of Darkness 979 out of 10?
Out of 10, probably like a 6 out of 10. I think it was fine. I went into this having like different expectations of what it was. Like, I thought before going into this, there would be more of a focus on like the Army of Darkness, I guess, like more Deadites, more like zombie kind of characters and stuff like that. I was a little disappointed that it was all like mostly human kind of conflict. I would have liked to see more of that kind of like action in here. But that's not the book's problem. That's me as a reader not
I gotcha.
wanting a different story, I guess.
I gotcha. I mean, I don't know. For me, I give this book like a 6.5. I think a 6.5 or a 7. I think it's solid. Like, it's not amazing. And I do think that, yeah, like, I wish it granted, like, they do a lot of stuff with you know, like they do a lot of focus on like the other characters, and like I wish we got more like Evil Dead, Army of Darkness type of stuff with like, you know, like what you said with like the Deadites and all that, and you know, I wish they leaned a little more towards that stuff, because they, and you said it before, but the Deadites are very underutilized, and I mean, I wish we got some more of that. Especially would love to see, you know, how Tom Garcia, you know, interprets, you know, we did see it in the first couple issues, but how he interprets, you know, the Deadites, what his visions of like what other Deadites would look like. I think that would have been really cool to explore, but we don't really get that. So.
Yeah, I think there were also like a lot of missed opportunities with that, with like, you know, having them in these silly, goofy, like New York in the 70s situations.
Yeah, right. I think so too. But yeah, I mean, yeah, but I think this is a solid book for me. It's kind of average. But the most important thing for me about, you know, reading this series is that it got me. I kind of want to read more. I kind of want to read more of the Evil Dead comic, like this, like I'm sorry, the Army of Darkness comics with Dynamite. I don't really read a lot of Dynamite comics, but I think this is gonna let me. This is gonna give me the right push to start reading some. So, but yeah. But Rebecca, real quick. Speaking of reading some Army of Darkness comics, it's quick tangent. Did you know that that there's actually a new series coming out?
I did not. Are we
Okay,
gonna
well,
plug that?
oh fuck yeah, I'm gonna plug it because I'm actually very excited about it. So yeah, people, there is actually a new Army of Darkness series coming out this month. I don't know exactly what day it's coming out, but because I only checked the websites and it only says October 2023, so which is iffy. But yeah, so Dynamite is actually releasing a new Army of Darkness. I don't know if I think miniseries. I don't know if it's a miniseries or a long-standing series, but it's going to be titled Army of Darkness Forever. And I am excited because Rebecca, because the concept for this book, I don't know if you're familiar with a little deleted scene from Army of Darkness. I don't know if you were.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so for people that don't know, there is a deleted scene from Army of Darkness where, because the original ending is Ash takes a potion to basically have him go into like a very long coma and wake up in the present day. So that's kind of a cool way to do him going through time. And then basically he goes back to going back to his job at S-Mart, which is the Walmart parody in
well, I guess Kmart, if you want to be really specific.
Okay, yeah,
date that movie.
Yeah, okay, yeah, Kmart, I guess, and then basically like he just goes back to, and then a Deadite shows up, and pretty much he is a hero once more. But in the deleted scene for Evil Dead for Army of Darkness, which I think this would have been a better ending for me. I would have loved to see how they would play off of this, but Ash ends up sleeping for a little bit too long, and never gets a chance to save the world again in the present day. And so he wakes up in the far future in a post-apocalyptic world where the Deadites and the Kandarian demon took over the world, and it just cuts to black. And so basically for this new series for Army of Darkness, it's going to be focusing on that ending and basically be making a separate time, but as an alternate timeline for the Army of Darkness comics. And yeah, I don't know about you, Rebecca, but is this something you'd want to pick up?
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like that's something I'm gonna let you read first and tell me if it's good.
Oh, really? All right, I'm gonna be your guinea pig.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be fun. I think it might be fun, and it's written by Tony Fleeks and illustrated by Justin Greenwood, and the comic's going to be celebrating the 30th anniversary of the United States release of the Army of Darkness film. So it's been 30 years already, which is crazy. And I'll share I found this little page for it. But we will be seeing the return of Evil Ash from the Army of Darkness film, and yeah, that looks like it's gonna be a lot of fun. And okay, fine. You know what? I will, when I get a chance to read it, I will do a little YouTube short review so that y'all can get a little taste of it, so y'all can read it for yourself. And then, if you want to talk about it in the podcast in the future, maybe. But yeah, that's all I really gotta say. So yeah, Rebecca, I guess I'll just do the outro. So thank you everyone for watching this or will watch this. We appreciate the support. This will be our third episode of the Fright Night event. So feel free to check out the previous episodes, which are the Nights on the Lake, as well as Maniac of New York, which those ones are a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun doing, so check those out. And yeah, check out all of our other stuff, the Deadly Class stuff, the Indie Corner, Mini Corner After Dark stuff, there will be one for Fright Month as well towards the end of the month of October. Check out our Barbie review that Rebecca did. Check out the reaction that we did of the trailer, which got 10K. And again, I have to plug it again because Rebecca apparently has the Midas touch and knows how to get 10K apparently. Don't laugh, like, come on, I'm giving you props here. Check out the Transformers stuff. Check out everything. There's a ton of content out there and on our channel, which we put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into. And we appreciate all the love and support from y'all. It really means a lot to us. And yeah, comment, like, subscribe. What's your favorite Evil Dead movie? Yeah, let's play that. What's your favorite Evil Dead movie? What's your favorite Evil Dead, Ash vs. Evil Dead season? Do you think Ash vs. Evil Dead was wrongfully canceled? Because it was. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's it, everyone. Thanks for watching, and watch some Evil Dead. That's the most. Watch some Evil Dead. It's good stuff. And yeah, we'll catch y'all later, and get home safe. Bye bye.